Thank you. I'm Gary Waddell from the San Mateo County office, and I have the pleasure of kind of tying some of these pieces up today, talking about where we are, and as we're at the end of this four-part series, kind of where we're going next. But before I do that, I just need to give a huge shout out to everyone who's been involved in all of these trainings, and very especially to Judy Flores, who has coordinated all of this masterfully. We're all in awe, so thank you, Judy. We appreciate that. What we're going to share are, and I need to also give a shout out to my partner in crime from San Mateo County office, Liz Wolf, who's our Director of Accountability and District Support, who put a lot of this together that we're talking about today. So, and she said, "You go present it." So we're going to share some of the survey results that we gathered at the last time, and we're going to have a minute electronically for us to have a way to connect with each other and then talk about where we're going next in this work. So very quickly, I'm just going to kind of do a drive-by of some of the findings, and then you'll get a chance when we go on a digital tool in a minute to see some more of the specifics. It was a little tricky to evaluate or to combine this data because, as you can anticipate, there are a lot of different things going on across the state that are called very different things. So we're going to kind of walk through what some of these look like. So generally, in terms of what locally developed resources counties have found to be most useful, most of us really provide the CISESA and CISC materials with some modifications and BASC materials. Some counties, certainly quite a few, provide one-to-one consultation, template samples, LCAP guides with monthly tasks. In terms of how we adapt those materials, so I think many of us take those materials back and then break them apart, chunk them in different ways that are meaningful in the structures that we have, sharing relevant portions to the appropriate audiences. Some county offices create their own examples, for example, contextualizing this into the local context, whether that's MTSS work or what have you. Generally, in terms of ensuring that the materials are calibrated, certainly that's been our focusing goal for us across the state to calibrate our work. Most counties are using these materials and the CISESA-produced materials as a way to ensure that we're calibrated. And some counties provide ongoing updates and analyze and evaluate additional materials. We always certainly see things that are being developed or hear of new things or have vendors that are developing things. So we also kind of have an eye on those things as well. Generally, in terms of the additional kinds of support and training districts are requesting, concrete examples, strategic planning connections, training materials for a variety of audiences, budget training and expenditure tracking, setting EAMOs and data compilation and analyses, LCFF, the evaluation rubrics, and of course we had a lot of that with the dashboard today. Generally, in terms of the additional resources that counties said that districts needed, evaluation rubrics, data analysis, how to use lagging indicators, leading and lagging, I suppose, connecting the rubrics to the LCAP, coherence of plan development, strategic planning, CIPSA, all of those things that are kind of spinning out there. How do you connect all of those to have this North Star of a single coherent state system? And examples and non-examples of the various pieces of this. In terms of how we're organized, there's a wide variety of ways that we're organized to do the work, but there are some commonalities certainly that emerge. We have leads from business and instruction, and I think we've said that many times, but certainly one of the great unanticipated results of this work has been the new renewed and strengthened collaboration between instruction and business. District-specific meetings, large group meetings. Some counties are doing meetings by webcast, drop-ins, county consortia. I know that we're constructed many different ways. It's not just come and get a training, as all of us know. It's also going out and being there contextually in our districts. How do we ensure that each district receives the necessary training? I like keep bugging them. I think that's the technical term for that. Individual meetings for those who miss trainings. Some counties track attendance. You do follow-up phone calls. Of course, that's one of the early learnings we had. If somebody misses it and it's a key piece of that training, then we're going to see that later on. So it's important that we go back and fill in that gap. And communicating through and with superintendents. How will we organize to provide differentiated technical assistance? Some counties build capacity in districts to serve as models, align technical assistance with priority areas, dedicate staff to this work, address issues at district-specific visits, and build on current structures and organizational needs. So really, I think the picture of what emerged from this is we certainly have this statewide system that went from statute to the state board, and we use as a forming document the CECESA training materials that are filtered through our local context at the county office and to the district. But what emerged kind of at the bottom of this picture on the survey was there's a huge variety in how we approach this work and various tools that are being developed across the state. So we thought about how could we provide an opportunity for you to know what other counties are doing and some things that you might be doing as well, just a chance for you to connect with other counties so that you might say, hey, we're interested in developing something like that, or we've been working on that. Could we work together on it just for our own specific work? So, let's see. Oops, I have two things going at the same time. So if you'll go to this link, I want to give you about 10 minutes to do this. And what you're going to see, there are 3 specific questions that we asked around tools and resources that are being developed. And so you'll find a list of those that we've kind of clustered some of them together. And some of them, if you're not sure what they mean, that's okay. If you think that's something you're interested in or you're working on as well, you'll put your county name in there and just click the boxes. And what we're going to do in the next week or so is send an email to all of you that said, hey, you're working on this specific thing, so you might want to collaborate together and connect on that tool. So we're going to give you about 10 minutes just to get that done. It's pretty quick to do. And then we're going to come back together briefly and talk about where we're going next with this process and a structure that we're going to move forward with. So we'll take 10 minutes to do that, and that's at that link. Okay, if we could come back together to the large group, please. Thank you for doing that. I know that was just a few minutes, and there were a lot of things listed there. So you will have this link. We're not going to do anything with this until next Wednesday. So you have some time. If you have people that aren't here you'd like to have some input or ask them what they would like to do, or if you'd like to reflect on this a bit more, you can come back into the survey. So we wanted to spend a little bit of time, just a few minutes before we wrap up today, talking about one of the questions that we had on the survey, which is what kinds of ongoing support would be most useful to us to ensure a common message across county offices of education. And there were a number of items here that really kind of drew the bulk of our responses. One of those was ongoing group meetings, such as these trainings with all involved county office personnel. And certainly we know that while these are not easy to put together and it's not easy for us all to come together, these have been very valuable times for us to calibrate and learn together and build and deepen our community of practice around LCAP oversight. Another one of those was regular archived webinars, and this today's training was filmed thanks to our friends in Fresno, and so will be archived. Go Fresno! And another one was establishment of a statewide county office LCAP leads network. So that's a conversation that we have had between CISC and BASC about the possibility of putting together essentially a subcommittee of LCAP directors, LCAP leads from across the state. And so we're beginning to put together that model. It will probably function as a subcommittee that will be co-chaired by CISC and BASC, and will be really a way for LCAP directors who who are in many cases leading this work but aren't at those meetings necessarily, to have a network of people to collaborate with and learn with, potentially to come together a time or two in the year and to connect virtually more regularly. So that's a conversation that CISC leadership and BASC leadership have had, and that will all happen under the auspices of the CISESA LCAP Coordinating Committee. So really to kind of keep us connected and moving forward together. So that's really an important next step in this work, because we've all been saying, so what comes next as we go forth and do this work? So if you'll just stay tuned about that, because what we're going to do is identify the leads, and then we'll send something out to CISC and BASC members to tell us who should be on that from your counties, and then those leads will be back in touch with you about the structure that takes. So hopefully that will be a welcome, a new piece of our structure and system. So that's all that I have, and I won't stand between you and, well, we have Efren still, so it's my pleasure to introduce Efren. Thank you, and thanks again for being here today and for the work.
Thank you very much. Who has been to all 4 sessions? Here's your hand. Excellent. All right, so I know that I've had the best time of my life the last 4 months working very closely with Judy Flores. It's been fantastic. The emails, the phone calls, the go-to meetings. I just want to, I know she said she's not going to come up here one more time, but ask her one more time to come up here and just a small token of appreciation from CISESA, the county superintendents, everyone in this room, for Judy Flores, everyone.
Well, thank you very much. I had the opportunity to talk a little bit to CISC back in November, but I'll share with all of you, it really is an opportunity to see the expertise that we have statewide. And it was a great opportunity to work with so many different county offices who all are passionate about this work. And we're so much stronger together, and there's no reason for us to all duplicate the same work. You saw the advantage and heard over again about the benefits of drawing on the strengths of those around us so that we all have stronger training materials to share with our districts as a result. So it was an honor, and I appreciate all of you who have stepped up both as developers and reviewers. I know it was a lot of time on your part. So again, thanks for the collaborative efforts over the past 4 months.
Thank you. All right, so just a couple of quick notes before we head out. To reference earlier today, you know that letter that Dave Sapp mentioned that was sent to all superintendents? It's now in your inbox, so you should have it. If you don't have it, before you leave, either shoot me an email or talk to AJ and she'll get your email and we'll figure that piece out. So there's that. Other piece of information, if you are the assigned rubric coordinator for the county, you're on a roster, you have not received your username and password yet, but you will receive it next week. So heads up, if you don't know who your county person is, I would recommend talk to your probably your CISC person or the county superintendent. If you guys still can't figure it out, you can email me and then we'll check the roster and do all those things. Couple other pieces, the LCAP lead director network piece, really excited about that. I think it's gonna have a lot of legs moving forward. We did a survey I forget how long ago, it was a while ago, to identify who the leads are and to do all that. But I'm guessing that data might be a little bit dated now because it's been probably about 4, 5, 6 months, give or take. So we'll be sure to build all that in. And then lastly, you guys wanted more trainings, so get ready. I'm going to click to the next slide where it has all the new dates. No. Yeah. And Judy's volunteering to... No. So one thing that became very apparent when all this planning was happening in August and all that time, we thought the RUCs would be here already. So we thought that we'd be able to build everything in. So it's very obvious at this point, obviously the dashboard rubrics, whatever you want to call them, aren't here yet. So we're going to need to now take the content that's already been developed, Frankenstein it, and then wrap that around what the dashboard actually looks like once it's released. So we're going to do that piece. I'm going to call on some folks to help us with that. If you're interested in helping us out, please email me. But I'm going to call on a couple people to help us out with that and get that ready to go with the target of having that ready by mid-February. Hopefully, that's pretty fast, I know, I'm sorry, but hopefully we'll have a county with a great team and a couple folks come together to do that, okay? Because I hear that Dan is excellent with Google Drive, even though he uses a flip phone. Sorry, Dan. Anyway, so again, everyone, thank you for coming out, especially for the crew that stays till 3:30 because you read the agenda. We really appreciate that dedication. And I don't think there's anything else, right, Judy? Oh, click the link. It's not funny anymore. Do the survey, please. Oh, that's different. Never mind. Thank you, Judy. I was trying to be funny and I messed up. There's going to be a survey that comes out to all of you. We're going to be talking about the survey next week with the county superintendents to help show why it's so important. CISC executive talked about it last night. It's going to have to do with what trainings are you guys doing right now? What have you already done? How have you used the materials? It's going to build off of what Gary did last time, but go deeper, trying to really tell the story of the work that county officers are doing to support LEAs and to support everyone in the field. So that's going to be coming out probably sometime mid next week, Wednesday or so. We're going to pitch it to the county superintendents as well on Tuesday afternoon in Monterey, and then we'll help to get all that. We really need you guys to respond because we really want to be able to tell the entire picture of the support that's happening given all this new work. And we also know that this is the new LCAP template, the rubrics, the dashboard, and we haven't even really gotten into the required differentiated assistance. And that's still work that's going to be lumped on top of that. So to kind of close out what Peter said this morning, we're hopeful for the May budget and those pieces, but telling this story and painting this picture is going to be very, very, very important. So thank you, Judy, for reminding me about that. I appreciate it. Any questions or comments before we head out? No? Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.